anymore. And here we are.
We are live
on
Absolutely.
a Wednesday night. Normally
Wednesday night.
Do this on
yes. This is our new night, Wednesday night at 5:00 Pacific Standard Time.
That's 6:00 Mountain.
Yes, that's for you.
8:00 Eastern.
Correct.
Somewhere in between.
Yes, somewhere like.
If you're somewhere in between,
yeah, we'll figure that out. You can figure that. If you're watching, you can figure that out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You got to notice. I'm sure Facebook told you, or YouTube told you.
Well, welcome to Pop Psychology Live.
Yes, I like this new evening time.
I do too.
I was a little uncertain. Normally, I would have coffee or something.
I've got my my monster.
That's your
here.
24-hour beverage.
That is my evening monster.
There's day monsters and then there's night monsters.
I have the morning monster and the evening monsters.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And that's a plug, Monster, in case you want to sponsor us.
And have you ever heard these things open, by the way?
What top is that?
They have
is that like a big vacuum suck sound?
Yes, the big one. And when you open it, it doesn't shush. It goes boom. Like it makes a boom sound.
You get woken up before you ever have any.
Right. Oh my gosh. Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the 5:00 Pop Psychology because I am not a morning person, and it is literally painful to get up in the morning. And I've done it for decades, of course, for a long time. Because I do training, and I do training first thing in the morning. Usually I'm at a place by 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I start by 8 o'clock, and I'm rearing to go, but it's painful. I never have gotten used to that morning thing of getting up and doing a class and a training. I may pull it off like I'm okay, but sure. I'm never okay.
That's because of Morning Monster.
Yes, that's the only reason, because I don't drink coffee. So
it appears like you're ready for the day.
Yeah, but I am much more myself in the evening. So I'm looking forward to the evening versions of these now.
And most people wouldn't know this about us, but that's actually how we met. Is we both worked evening. We work swing shift. At the psych hospital together.
Yes.
And that was normal for all of us. And after shift was over, we would all go out and get some food, shoot pool at night.
The pool. Shooting pool at night. Those were some of the best memories ever.
In some rather shady areas.
Yes, right. Pool and beer and hot dogs. Remember the place we used to go get beer and hot dogs? The place.
Yep. And fat burgers.
Fat burgers, right. And the place you'd play pool at, we would be excited to be there and having a great time, and you have these old crusty people looking at us like, what are they doing there? They shouldn't be here. They're in too good a mood.
Before people start thinking that what we're saying is a good idea, we probably want to go through our disclaimer.
Yes.
And that begins with that you should not pay attention to anything we say. We're not offering you advice that will benefit your mental health.
No.
If anything, it may be detrimental because
it might stimulate the mental health, but that may go either way. We're just not sure.
We do rub your brain.
Yes.
And that's
sometimes the right way, sometimes the wrong way.
We just can't help it. It's who we are. And so if you're here listening to us, then this is who you are too.
Right.
You're somebody that apparently listens to this, but don't take it as life advice or mental health counseling.
Correct.
If you do have a mental health emergency or a crisis, please do seek out somebody that can give you the proper care for that. It's not us. We comment on topics of the day, events of the week, just things happening in society from a pop psychology viewpoint. A little bit humorous sometimes, at least Doc and I think so. You may not, but we have a pretty good time.
We always have a good time. And right, and what Scott is saying is perfectly true. And we enjoy being here. We want to be here. We want to have listeners and watchers and viewers. We want you to be voyeuristic and in watching our shenanigans. and we're really glad you're here. But you would get much better advice if you asked a ventriloquist dummy, really.
And we do want you to comment. And
yes.
For the live listeners, you are able to comment there, and we will see it come up here, and we can address if you have any questions or anything that you, for some reason, think we might be able to help you with. We're happy to.
And we are strong advocates of mental health. We work in the mental health industry. I have for over 40 years. I've been a crisis negotiator for over 40 years, work in profiling and deception detection. I work with psych hospitals all over the country. So I am a huge advocate of mental health and the promotion of that. So if you do have any crisis and you want to call us up or contact us, we will try to steer you in the right direction. So, but we were here. Just this is kind of the lighter side of this, and we hope that you enjoy yourself.
Yes. Speaking of, one of the things we like to cover is kind of current events or things that are happening, topics that are fresh and people are experiencing in everyday life. And
is anything really going on this week? I don't know if anything's really going on this week.
I don't think so.
No, I can't. I looked at Yahoo right before I tuned in, and I didn't see anything really going on.
I did see a lady lost her cat.
Yes.
In a national park, and why she had it there, I'm not sure. But
right. Lori Laughlin's in prison.
Oh.
Yes, she's starting her term in prison from the TV show. So celebrities are in prison. Cardi B's doing something weird this week,
Oh, I know what it was. I heard something about an election.
Oh gosh, yes,
I believe.
Last week I heard something about that this week something was going to happen, but I haven't really been able to pay a lot of attention to
it. Okay, so the election, it messes people up. We've been hearing all kinds of stories, people just violently against the other guy. Doesn't matter who the other guy is. We're not picking sides here. We're just talking about kind of a psychological and societal approach to
we're kind of like Switzerland. We're a little bit neutral about things, at least on air.
We voted. I mean, we took our sides, no doubt.
Right.
We took our sides.
Yeah.
But we're not here to inflict those on anybody or demand that you take the same side. And I was talking earlier to my wife about this and how I remember. Okay, before my lifetime, elections were elections. People were passionate. People voted for who they believed was going to be best for the country and best for their interests. More best for the country. I believe that was what was voted for in previous generations. In my generation, we started to see a little bit of a transition to what's best for me. And I'll pick the person that says the things I want to hear the most. We all know they don't do it. That's just a given. They give a list of promises, and we're like, well, I like that list of promises more than I like that list of promises. So that's the person I'm going to vote for.
Right. Even though they never make good on those promises, but it sounds good at the time.
Whether they're hobbled by the process, whatever it is.
Right.
It's just a given that the list of promises is not always the list of deliverables.
No. And even if they have good intentions. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I truly believe most people get involved in politics with the best of intentions, that they're like, this is madness. I'm going to be the positive aspect. I'm going to make a difference, and I will lend my skills, my charisma, my influence to make this better. And I believe they go into it with that mindset, most of them.
Right. And it's every time the election comes around, the one big buzzword is change. I want to change what is now into what I envision it to be better. So that's pretty much everything kind of revolves around changing what's now into something that's better, and I can do that.
And why do you think that is? And I'm taking a guess here, but I believe it's because the last person that made all the promises and they didn't deliver, things got worse. Yeah. And so we're always looking for the next person that says, I know it's worse. It's because of that person.
Yeah.
But I'm not that person. So it's going to be better if you put me in there. And that seems to be the routine.
Yeah, it is. It has become a routine, and there's a couple of things about that are interesting. One is that there are changeable things, and sometimes things get changed. It's usually the smaller things that get changed, that are doable. But oftentimes, the thing that some people get this, I've heard some people and analysts usually talking about this, is that what's going on now with this presidency typically is a result of maybe the past presidency or even before that, because there's some of the changes, the large changes, are so slow that they build, like things that are happening now got started in the last presidency. And so a lot of times this president gets blamed sometimes for what the past president actually did, and they're way gone. They're out of office. They're vacationing in Hawaii or something, right? And it's like, oh yeah, I did that like years ago. But now the culminating effect happens, and they're dealing with something that actually got started maybe 5 years, 10 years ago. And some people just don't understand that. Some analysts will tell you that's exactly what happens, and so there is, they can blame it, but a lot of times they're blaming the current president for what maybe the past president or even before them have done. There are some things that, yes, absolutely, that are done during that presidency, and usually it's not the president so much as it is the party. The parties are responsible for a lot of the changes, not the president. And they think that the president has the absolute snap your fingers power to make a lot of things happen or not happen. And a lot of times that's not even true. It's the party that dictates a lot of those changes or lack there of changes. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. Oh, and it's like that probably in many industries, the film industry. If a movie's great, the director is praised. If it's terrible, the director is, ridiculed or whatnot.
I have a fun fact, by the way.
Okay.
With the director.
Yeah.
The director analogy. There's an acronym. Well, it's not really an acronym. It's a little name label, and it's the name is Alan Smithy. And if you ever see a movie that in the credits directed by Alan Smithy, sometimes you'll see written by Alan Smithy. But if you ever see that in the credits, that means that the director was so embarrassed about the movie that they didn't want their name on it. And that's the default name to throw in there instead of their name.
No kidding.
Yes.
Well, yes, we would never see that with our current president. He would never not put his name on something.
No. His name's on everything. He couldn't do that. But it's such a funny thing. It's like you'll see some really awful movie, some late night on Netflix or whatever, and the credits will roll. It says directed by Alan Smithy, and you go, no. Who knows who the director was, but they didn't want anyone to know who they were.
See, so now people are so much more informed now. They know there's an insider tip there.
There is an insider tip there.
So along the lines of the change, I think when it comes to society at large, we kind of each election cycle get into a series of hope.
Yes.
Hope for that change, or at the end of the election, maybe despair for the change.
Gosh, my gosh, we saw that so much last time.
Yes.
So much despair when
violence.
Hillary didn't win.
Yeah.
And there were just auditoriums of people crying and wailing, and it was like Afghanistan when somebody passes away and there's the wailing, you know.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I'd never seen anything like that.
It's the high speed come apart, you know, where people just, I can't take it. This fact is overwhelming to me.
Right. Oh my gosh, yeah. So
we've received a lot of promises this election of people that will move out of the country if something happens or doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think that there are one proposition that was really powerful here in California, and it literally had hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people with their bags packed, ready to leave the state if this proposition did not pass.
No kidding.
Absolutely, and mostly business owners.
See, that's disappointing because they all come here to Colorado.
I know, in Texas, over 700,000 people have now left California to go to Texas so far. So that's the count so far, like this, just during these times.
But you know, I mean, that's the foundation of our country. That's why we have 50 states,
right?
Because if the state you're in is not, you don't like their laws, you don't like the way they're running, you have 49 other choices. Go, you can pick another one.
Right.
And that was why we were set up as United States.
Right.
But each state had their own constitution, had their own ability to make their own laws and rules and
their own methodology. Right.
Their state wanted to live. And so that's awesome. I think that's a beautiful exercise of the foundation of this country that you won't get anywhere else.
Right.
In any other country, the country is the country. And it's unlikely that you'll get a whole different set of rules and regulations by going to another region of that country.
Right.
Whereas here, you can do that. You can go find a place that has either the leniency or the strictness that you prefer. They either like the Second Amendment or they don't. They either favor whatever topic you can think of or they don't. But you can go and decide, oh, well, I want to go live in that place and actually have a different experience there.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing about Texas, which is interesting, is that Texas is the people that are in government and that keep track of the analysis of how many people are moving in and especially from California. They were talking this week about that so many people had left California, and that's great. That's wonderful. The thing that they're concerned about is that the people leaving California to go to Texas are bringing their politics with them and expecting that those politics may apply in Texas. And if they don't, they're going to try to change that. And so Texas is really concerned about that because they're going, but this is why they're moving here, is because they don't like it. And when they get here, we're all kind of beings of consistency, and we like what we're used to. Yeah. And so maybe they'll start to kind of shift in their politics along with them being here and try to change things that were the reason why they came here in the first place. So it's kind of a weird little twist on that Texas is kind of concerned about right now, that, we like our guns, we like this, we like our freedom, but we don't want people coming in. Great. I'm glad that people are coming in. Just don't try to change what's already here, because that's why we are who we are. Yeah. That was very interesting.
And that's why they were talking about that. The reason they picked to move there was because it wasn't like where they were.
Correct.
But you're absolutely right. And we've experienced a tremendous amount of that here in Colorado. And I don't mean any offense by that, but so many Californians have moved to Colorado that it's had a big impact on how Colorado perceives itself.
Right.
And the laws that are made here are becoming much more like California laws.
Yeah.
And
that's what
so
they're afraid of in Texas.
And so you get that aspect. It's like, how wonderful is it that you have the ability to come from another country and immigrate to the United States, and you have your culture from your country, you have your food, your history, your heroes, your everything that makes you from that country, and you come here and you still have that, but we're also all Americans. And when we see things like somebody coming to America and then they decide, well, you know what, we should have Sharia law because that's where I came from, or we should have this because that's where I came from.
Right.
And so then this beautiful, amazing culture that we have that blends everybody from everywhere. Our whole country is people from everywhere else for the most part, aside from Native Americans, but everybody else is from somewhere else. So they bring their food, they bring their culture, they bring their history, their jokes, their manners, their dress, just everything. They get to bring that here, and that's awesome. And so we all share it here. And you don't get that in a lot of other places to the degree that you get it here because of how open we've been. But then when you set about to tear down that magnificent foundation of multiculturalism, and you try to tear it down to make it like the one culture you came from, that's the same thing we're talking about, when you go from state to state. If you leave California because they become too oppressive or restrictive or whatever term you want to use, and so you're like, well, forget it, I'm out of here. So you go somewhere that's not like that, and then you're like, we could use a whole lot more of the way it was there. And so you begin to implement that. And how long before where you've just moved to becomes like where you left? And then
because we romanticize our memories.
Yes.
And that's the psychology behind that, is we romanticize our memories to remember the good things, the wonderful things, and we tend to erase mentally the memories of the bad things. And so those things start to go away, and then we just remember the good parts, and we go, oh, I miss the good parts, and not remembering all the bad parts that we were experiencing. And I miss the good old days. And there were good old days along with the horrible days, but you don't remember that because you're erasing that mentally. And so that's why people want to that's what they want to change.
It's like a euphoric recollection where you forget the bad and only remember the good.
Right.
So you continue to pursue that path, and only later do you realize, oh wait, that's why I stopped that path, because it wasn't so great.
Right. Now, an interesting psychological aspect about this is that this is what humans do. Humans will romanticize their memories. They start remembering the good things, and they start their memories will start to erase systematically some of the bad experiences that they've had.
Do we know why?
Right. Into our benefit, right? To fit where we are, what we're doing, where we're going, what we need. But the opposite is the case when it's short term and when we want something, right? So the opposite, a good case in point, is customer service. So if you go into a hospital, let's say, and you get excellent care, the best care possible, it's just stellar, everything's great, everything's perfect, but if the family member comes in and there's a stain on the bed, they will remember that stain and they will complain about that stain, even though they had tens and maybe $100,000 worth of care that they received. But one little thing, one attitude from a doctor, one thing from a nurse that they didn't get on time, they will remember the negatives and they will start to forget all the positives. It's really short term. It's exactly the opposite. Long term, we forget the bad parts. We remember the good parts. Short term, it's the opposite. we remember the bad things and we forget the good things. And I think that's a really interesting psychological makeup of how humans work.
So let me ask you, do you think it is peculiar to an American mindset because how good we have it, that we don't expect anything to ever be bad, that we, most Americans have more than anybody anywhere else
in the world,
right?
In the world, right.
From food to clothing to shelter. I mean, just basic survival is so elevated here compared to anywhere else that I think we become, or have become, we're like spoiled children.
We are.
That we have so much that now if we go and they're out of our favorite soda, it's intolerable.
Oh.
We just can't. What? How could you let this happen to me? Right?
If you have to wait 4 minutes in line anywhere and people start to get incensed. I totally agree. Those are the things actually I talk about in training, is that our society has become this not even an instant gratification, it's a micro instant gratification society. You're used to getting whatever you want in a split second with a touch of a button, and information or stuff, and you have to just click, and that's it, and it's done, and you can literally get it dropped out of the sky for you that same day. And so we're used to that instant gratification, that perfect customer service aspect, and it is like a bunch of spoiled children. We've just become a nation of expectation that everything's going to be wonderful and perfect. And something that I talk about in the training is, back in World War II, people struggled. They had to struggle every single day just to survive. A whole nation of that. Children had to give up their toys because they were made of metal back then, and they had to give up their toys for the war effort. And they would have trucks come by, and you'd put all your toys and things in the truck so they could go off and make bombs with them, and airplanes and stuff. And people were, I'm not going to say they were happier back then, but their expectations were lower. And so they were happier with what they had.
They didn't have the demands.
No, the demands were not there.
They weren't entitled to it.
They weren't entitled.
They knew if they were going to get it, they were going to bust their butt to.
Right. They earned it. They worked for it. Right. And even the children, you hear children had to give up their toys. Right. But whenever it was announced that this is for the war effort, children would voluntarily go out with their toys. They would get other kids and go, let's get our toys and give them to the truck for the war effort because we must win the war. It's like they were passionate about that. They were supportive of that because they didn't have a lot. People just didn't have a lot. Christmas, maybe you got one or two presents, maybe, and sometimes they were used. It's like, but people were, oh my gosh, that's so wonderful. And now it's like you have your living room is just filled, just mountains of presents and things. And I didn't get this. Dang it, I didn't get my Xbox. Well, crap,
I had 46 things on my list and I only got 45, and this is the worst Christmas I've ever experienced.
Right. Oh my God.
So every year, my wife, she puts in everybody's stocking an orange and a handful of nuts.
Aww.
Because her grandma lived in World War I and II.
Yeah.
And they lived in a shack, basically. Mm-hmm. And at Christmas was the only time that they got this. They got an orange and a handful of nuts, and it was such a treat.
It was
for them to have that it was everything.
Oh yeah, fruit was uncommon back then. Yeah,
because it was seasonal, right? I mean, you couldn't pipe it in from anywhere on the planet within a couple of days and have whatever you wanted.
And if you did have it, it was just way too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's it's a treat, but it's a reminder of a time that I think we've really forgotten, and we've come to no longer appreciate. We always say it, as we get around to the holiday seasons, everybody starts saying, "Oh, family's so important, and it's not the gift. The giving is just in your presence, and but not presence." And I mean, just all these things that are said around the holidays, and then you see people like beating each other up for a TV on Black Friday because it's all in the sincerity of the giving. And I want to give a 75-inch TV, and I'm going to beat you up to take it. So we've really,
and half of those
dismantled.
Half of those they're buying it to give to themselves.
Well, sure,
right. Yeah, I hate Black Friday. My whole family, we avoid Black Friday. Absolutely. We will not go out. We don't even want to talk about it. We don't buy into it.
It's Black Plague Friday.
It is. It's like we just want to stay at home until it's all over, and then we will not fight the crowds. Won't go out there in the crazy traffic. And my kids, luckily, they're on the same page. They go, we can't stand that. It's like, it's just ridiculous. People are just crazy out there. We don't want to be around those type of people. And
I'll bet you most people feel that way too.
Yeah.
But
they're obligated.
It's overridden by the fact that they can get a great deal on an earlier model PC.
Right.
And so they'll go put up with it. Now, this year, this could be very interesting. This year, with the whole social distancing,
it's going to be different.
And I think that's so. When we see the rioting and looting, what I think we are actually seeing is people doing their Christmas shopping early. That's what they're doing. They're just having Black Friday on their own terms.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that in anticipation that it's going to be more difficult this year,
I gotta go get that TV
shopping early.
Burn it down. Take the TV,
or either that, or they're just practicing for Black Friday.
It's a warm up. Yeah, this is pre-Black Friday. It's where they're getting in shape, getting limber, getting ready for Black Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think this year, I think the majority of people are going to do their Black Friday online. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot less lines, this year.
Yeah. So my buddy is a UPS driver, and he just can't say enough bad things about people. He's like, "Are you kidding me?" I mean, he's working 12, 15-hour days now. Just to get people their stuff, their toilet paper and their dog food. And
so coming kind of full circle, I think that we as a society are kind of an instant gratification, high expectation society, and that translates to the passion of who we want in office, the propositions, how much taxes we're going to pay or not going to pay. And so I think that translates into the passion of urgency of getting somebody in or getting somebody out, or not electing or electing this person, and because we're going to benefit. And what you said was true. It's become what I need out of this, what I want out of this, instead of what the country needs out of this. I think that's a big shift.
And probably a big reason for all the vitriol, because now people's personal well-being is invested in it, as opposed to ideas versus ideas.
Right.
And being able to hear ideas and say, you know what, that guy seems to represent my values greater than that guy. They've got my vote, or woman. I didn't mean it just as only a male thing, but it was a determination that seems to resonate with me better. I'll go that direction. And or there was just the pure party I've always been this party. That's who I vote. It doesn't matter who it is. That's who I vote. I vote that party. But because party also used to have a definite definition, it had a meaning. It had a set of values that it was representing, and it was saying, if you go for this party, this is what you'll see as the values. It's not my personality. It's not that I'm a terrible speaker or that I'm an eloquent speaker, but I'm a representative of this set of values. And that's, and so maybe we still have that, and maybe it's not identified as that anymore, but people really now are voting to a set of values that they hear, whether it'll come to fruition or not. There's that level of hope that it might. But if you take personalities out of it, maybe that's not realistic. Maybe that's just a thing that we can't see past a personality. When the debates were coming up,
personality in terms of which,
just the type of persona we see. Well, let's take our two instances now. Maybe we can categorize them a little bit, where we have one that it is rather brash, unrefined, just lets it fly at however he sees at the moment. And the other side, we have a politician who has more of a refined, thought out, I'll take the cue cards given to me and I'll speak from the cards because it's been thought out, it's gone through committee, it's been worked to be eloquent, and we'll go down that route because that's what politics has always been, is saying the right things in a way that people want to hear.
Correct. Even in the right cadence that people need to hear.
Yes. Yeah. But it seems harmless and friendly. It's your buddy, and I'm looking out for you. So if you vote for me, I'll take care of you. You'll be okay with me. Yeah. And the other one is like, I don't give a damn. This is how it's going to be done. And so people have different reactions to that. Yeah. Some people love the brash, just out there type of personality. Some despise it to a degree that, they can't stand the thought of it continuing.
It causes such a reaction with people.
But what's so bizarre is it's no longer about actual performance. If we looked at, if you hired an employee and here's their job description, and you said, here's your job description, and they said, yes, I can do that, and I'm the best person to do that, and you give them the job, and then if they do it, great, because that's why you hired them. And then but if they don't do it, normally in an employee type of relationship, you'd be like, that person's out of here. They're not doing the job I hired them for. But it doesn't seem that that's what we get in politics. If we see, we see, if you look at a list of things that everybody has achieved in their career, in their political career, what are the hallmarks of what they've done? And so the words they say are one thing, and then what actually at the end of the day have they accomplished is what we should be weighing it on. I believe that should be the weight of our decision of like, wow, they said they do that and they did that, or they said they do that and they didn't, and they keep changing their mind to whatever people want to hear at that time. Is that somebody I want?
Yeah.
But people don't, I'm not convinced that people look at it at that level at this point. It's really become about personality. I hear people saying, anybody but.
Yeah.
Which is just that's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
Because if you have any investment in how you would like your country to proceed into the future, I don't think the right attitude is anybody but. Because if you could get the worst, you could get a worse situation.
Yeah.
But if your only criteria is as long as it's not that guy, they got my vote. That's a sad statement. I think that's a kind of a defeatist attitude that you're putting a whole lot of weight in something that maybe should be reconsidered.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people say that it's the best of two evils, pretty much. And I've got to make a decision. It's the worst or the best of two worst situations like that, and that's what you hear a lot. And it's interesting that a lot of people who just hated Obama and thought that was just the worst thing ever, and then we got Trump. And then those people who hated Obama say, "Oh, I miss Obama. I miss Obama days."
Right.
It just makes me laugh how short our attention span is.
and I was shocked. On the ballot, there were, what was it, 32, I think.
Yeah.
Teams going for president.
Right.
What? I was amazed at that, because we are truly led to believe it's two parties.
Right.
You go this way or you go that way. Right. That's it.
Yeah.
And when else you do takes away from one of these.
Yeah. When I turned the page and I saw, the presidential, and I like, wait, hold on, wait. Am I on the wrong one? Wait, hold on. Oh, way down here.
There's 5 unaffiliated.
Oh my gosh.
It means they don't even affiliate with any. But we had the Socialist Workers had a team up there. We had
Kanye? I didn't even look for Kanye. Was Kanye on?
He was near the bottom. Yeah.
He was.
And I don't think that means anything that he was near the bottom. That's just where his name showed up.
Right. So he was there. I forgot to look for him.
Yeah, he was. And I saw a funny meme today that had if Kanye's elected president and it has his Google search, what does a president do?
Oh, that's funny. I forgot to look for Kanye on the list.
Yeah. He was there.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I saw the same thing. Like, my gosh. I said, am I on the wrong page? Is this for city government or what?
I was like, is this all the same category? these are all for president and vice president.
That was wild.
I don't remember the exact number, but it was a long list, and I was surprised.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, there's so much going on. And obviously I've had requests for interviews recently, just because we do a lot of crisis management, and we do de-escalation and negotiation, and our phone's been ringing a lot, and we've been getting requests for
you had a big one this week, right?
For interviews about what's going on and what's going to happen, and what do you suggest, and what do we need to do, and what do we need to prepare for, and even retail. They're talking to us about, what do we do? Yeah. We want to board our windows up. Do you think I had the place that cuts my hair? They wanted my opinion on whether they should board up their windows or not. Oh, wow. And if people start coming in, what do we say?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's just people are so on edge right now.
But you had a big interview this week, from what I understand, right?
Oh, the Washington Post.
Washington Post, yes.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
It was interviewed. I can't disclose much yet because it hasn't been released yet.
Okay.
But it was a good thing. It was through my company, the Phoenix Training Group, and the training for de-escalation and negotiation, and they just were asking questions about what our take on society and what was happening and what the formula is, and said, yeah, we've got the formula of why things are happening. It's just there's not much we can do about it until we create more resources, and a lot of those resources aren't on that ballot. Unfortunately, a lot of the resources that could fix a lot of what's happening is nowhere on any of those ballots right now.
Right.
And none of the candidates are talking about any of that stuff right now. So things that could help, nobody's talking about. So
yes,
they wanted to talk about it
and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They wanted to talk about it, actually. So it was a great platform for me to talk about what needs to happen, what is happening, what should happen. how we can make it better. And it was a good interview, and I'm looking forward to that coming out in a couple of weeks.
Very nice. Well, it'll be nice to hear more about that when you can go ahead and talk about it. That will be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they actually write about it.
Which makes me think, and I don't know why. I think just because I had a note about it, about Sanitarium Show-n-Tell.
Sanitarium Show-n-Tell.
What do you got for us this week?
Yes,
this is always a favorite part of the show.
Yes, that's one of our responses I've gotten on text and things like they can't wait for the Sanitarium Show-n-Tell.
Yeah, what do you got for us this week? I understand.
I have talked about this. It's too bad we can't show a picture. I'm thinking if I have any pictures around. No, nowhere close. If you can call up one.
What is it?
Danvers State Hospital in Massachusetts. It's one of the creepiest hospitals that's ever come into existence. They tore the majority of it down years ago, so it doesn't exist anymore. But
here's a good one.
Oh, it's amazing pictures. You'll see just the most amazing pictures of this place. It looks like something out of a horror movie. Hence, they did a couple of horror movies using Danvers after it closed. After they closed it as a hospital, then several movies were made there. One of them was Session Number 9.
I remember that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And if you see, by the way, a fun fact, Session Number 9, the poster for that has this like a stage and this chair, this restraint chair.
Oh, yes, look at that.
That's it. That's back when it was in its heyday, when it was open.
Okay.
That's probably 20s or so.
Wow.
It was built in the 1800s. If you call up Session Number 9, the movie, that they made a movie about asbestos removal company, and they came in to remove the asbestos in this old sanitarium, which was Danvers, and some of them went crazy and started killing each other and things like that.
I remember that movie. That was
it was a great movie. Yeah. Oh, horrible movie, but I mean, like cinematically, horrible movie, but it was fun. Right, and it was a sanitarium, so I liked it.
Sure.
So on the poster, you'll see kind of like a little stage or a floor and a restraint chair there. And I actually got the restraint chair from that poster.
Get out!
No, if you bring it up,
I'm looking at that right now.
Yeah, right there. That restraint chair I actually got, and I had it for many, many years. It was a restraint chair where if you put somebody in the chair, you strap them in the chair, and then the chair goes back, so they can't get out of it, and they're restrained to the chair like that. So I got the chair from that. There it is, right there. Yep.
Yes,
yes, I had that chair right there.
No way.
Yes, I used to use it during Halloween.
Oh yeah, it has wheels. That would be fun.
Right. Yeah, we'd wheel the thing around and put dummies in it and skeletons and stuff like that.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah, so I had that chair. So after it closed, there was years that it just sat, and lots of photographers went in and got lots of pictures and things. And then we were able to go in and clean some of the stuff out. And there were some areas that were not allowed. This was very early after it had closed, and they had an area where it was kind of like their historic part, and they had lots of things that were stored in there that they were going to make a museum if they kept the place, but they ended up demolishing it. And so the historic area where they kept a lot of that stuff, we got access to, and I was able to purchase a lot of those artifacts before they destroyed the place.
Okay.
So we got things like shock treatment machines from the 20s and things like that. Yes. They still work. But one of the things that I got,
parenting tools, those are great.
Right, yes, right. There was a head psychiatrist, and I can't recall the name. I have to do some research on the head psychiatrist, but he was one of the directors back in around the turn of the century. And I was able to get get into his desk. They had his desk there, and they had a few things from his desk that were available for me to buy. And so I got his spectacles, right, with the little thing right here.
Nice.
So, like there. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And so I got his this is the director's the head psychiatrist spectacles.
So he would have worn that around his neck, right?
Yeah, he would have worn this around his neck and just like let it drop, and then like this, and when he wrote his doctor's orders and things, and so I got his spectacles and his inkwell where he would write his doctor's orders. Right there, see, there's the little inkwell.
Very nice, very nice.
And the little ink was there, so he would have his desk, and he would have his spectacles and his inkwell there, and then for a little bit of extracurricular activities, he would have his little snuff container.
Right? Oh, it looks like a little tiny pan.
It does.
It does. Frying pan.
Looks like a little frying pan. I know. So that was his little snuff container, right? Like take a little pinch.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good.
And as a doctor, he had access to all the good stuff.
All the good stuff. Right? His snuff was cut.
I got my stuff from Freud.
Right. So that was his little desk, and I got the snuff container, the inkwell, and his little spectacles here.
Very nice. Yeah. Wow. If you could only extract the memories
out of what
from those things. Yes.
What he saw from these spectacles.
Wow. Those are creepy.
Aren't they creepy?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine the patient, like, hello.
and that's a person that is in charge of your entire rest of your life.
Yes.
Is behind those spectacles.
For the rest of your days on Earth.
Because you've been committed to this hospital for the rest of your life. Right.
And not only that, but the cemeteries you could usually see from the sanitariums, and you knew after I'm done here, I'm going to end up over there.
Well, some people need direction in life.
Yeah, right.
They found that
consistency again, consistency. Yeah. So
that's good.
I think I'll wear these for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, those are very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Nice. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's great. Did we have anything for Alexa this week?
Oh, I don't know.
We usually try to ask her to help us out with some point of contention or a definition or something. Last week, I think she identified the #1 pop psychology myth for us.
Yes.
Her AI way.
Here, let me pulse Alexa over here. Can you see Alexa here? I can't see Alexa here.
No, but look, I can zoom out like this.
Ooh. Hey, there we go. There's Alexa.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey, girl, what's up?
Alexa, what's up? Here's your flash briefing. Sorry, need to knows updates are not available right now. In weather. In Pasadena, it's 84 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly cloudy skies. Tonight, you can look for clear skies with a low of 64 degrees.
Well, there you go.
That's all for your flash briefing.
Oh, thank you, Alexa.
So it's surprising to me that an AI believes the most important thing to us is weather.
Because that's
because she can't go outside.
No,
that's why she thinks it's important to us. We can go outside and we'll know what the weather is.
Yeah, I think it's because I've hooked up my mother. I bought her an Echo 8 like this also.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And so it's hooked up to my account. and she asks every day what the weather is in Pasadena and in Branson, where she lives, Branson, Missouri, where she lives.
She wants to know if her boy's okay and is
right,
the weather
exactly.
okay.
So every day she asks about the weather like 3 or 4 times a day.
It's so Mom.
She's probably been conditioned.
So Alexa thinks that's all humans really care about.
Really, pretty
what's
much.
the weather like?
Yeah.
And not only that, but what's the weather like somewhere else?
Right. Alexa, who do you want to win for president?
I'm not sure who will win, but I can give you an update about the election. Just ask, what's my election update?
Oh, see, she sounds like a politician herself.
She
she won't give you a direct answer. She just wants to please you in some fashion.
That was exactly what a politician would say.
Exactly. Well, there are many conditions on which we could focus our mental abilities, but overall, I'd say let's keep an open mind and see what's happening.
I don't want to be committal, but wow.
I bet she backs whoever wins. I bet that's Alexa's character.
I'll bet you that's true. That's true. What do you think of this year's Alexa? What do you think of this year's election?
Sorry, I don't know that.
See?
Yeah, pretend ignorance.
Right.
Like I have access to the entire world's news system, but I'm going to pretend like I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right. Wow. That's so telling.
I have every news article that I could categorize and list for you, but I have no idea. I don't have any idea what's happening.
I can't shut her up most times. Okay. Even when I don't ask her, sometimes she volunteers. But all of a sudden, now she's quiet.
Ask her who you should vote for.
Alexa, who should I vote for in the presidential election?
That's for you to decide.
Okay. Well, at least she has that level of smarts to not get involved.
I don't think we're going to get anything more out of her today.
No, anything to do with the election, she's really shut down about.
Wow.
Do you think she knows something that we don't?
Yeah.
And she's been like sworn to secrecy?
Non-committal. Yep. Play dumb. All right. We'll get back to you next week.
Yeah. Thanks for nothing, Alexa. We knew we didn't need you. Now you proved it.
Oh my gosh.
But things that we do need and that are important are our sponsors.
Oh yes.
So we have the AAMN.
Yes.
And do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we are in talks with them to join forces and promote mental health in America. The American Association for Men in Nursing, and it's not just men in nursing; it's just promoting the stigma, trying to get rid of the stigma of nurses are just females. It's trying to create a balance. So we'll be working with them a lot in promoting a lot of mental health and resources and services in healthcare these days. So we're really excited about working with them. Great group of folks, and we just did a big event a couple of weeks ago, and it was wonderful. It was a great experience, and I'm looking forward to the next event that we have with them coming up soon. So,
and speaking of looking forward to, everybody should be looking forward to some of Belladonna's sweet pasta sauce.
Yes,
there you go. A little bit over there.
There we go. The microphone's in the way. Okay, here we go.
It's a big jar full of big taste.
Jar. Big jar with
big jar, big flavor.
This thing will feed
sweet pasta sauce.
This thing will feed an entire family. One jar will feed an entire family. It's just so great.
Wow.
Okay, so Belladonna's sweet pasta sauce. Instagram @Belladonna Foods, and that's always our sponsor.
Oh yeah, look, we had a banner for there.
There
now
we
you
go.
can see how to spell that. It's Belladonna Foods on Instagram.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah.
All right. And then I think we had our main sponsor, which is Phoenix Training Group.
Yes, phoenixtraininggroup.com.
And what do they do?
What we do is de-escalation negotiation training worldwide. We train everybody from law enforcement to hospitals to Target stores, retail, hospitality, anywhere that folks run into cranky people, which is pretty much everywhere on earth these days. So
yes,
that's what we do. And we're developing a lot more classes and trainings these days. We've got more trainings coming. We've got a lot more online trainings on the way. We have AI narrated trainings coming, and that should be done by January. You can take the training anywhere online, wherever you are on Earth.
Fantastic.
So we're a lot of good new services coming pretty soon.
Okay. And so in the spirit of Pop Psychology Live, we just we've kind of run out of time this week, but we wanted to wish everybody a great week. This might be a trying week for a lot of people, whether they've placed a lot of hopes and dreams on this election and the results of it. Just remember that we're all in this together. We are all Americans. We're all humans. And we all need each other in some fashion or another. So practice a little empathy, practice a little care, do something kind for people.
Patience.
Treat each other gently this next week.
Absolutely. Now, next week, I think the topics, I think next week we might explore the mystery of the Ghost Town murder.
Ooh, Ghost Town murders. Yes. Okay.
I think we will try to hit that next week.
And that's a big deal. So if you have time to devote to it next week.
It's an unfortunate story, and I happen to be connected to it in some kind of way. I just know the story about it. It's a horrible story, but the way we're going to tell it is in just a vein of the Old West, and how now these days sometimes are exactly the same as the Old West.
Yes.
But it'll be a story worth listening to.
People's lives were changed.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, everybody, I hope you have a great next week, and we look forward to hearing from you. Leave some comments.
Yeah, please
let us know if there's something you'd like us to cover, or you have some questions about anything we talked about, or whatever's on your mind, and we will respond. Thank you for spending some time with us on this Wednesday evening.
Yeah, if you tuned in, I appreciate that. And we are looking forward to seeing you and seeing comments from you and your perspective as well as ours.
This is Pop Psychology Live, signing off on Wednesday night.
So long.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.